Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Schulman, and this is going to be the third part of 4A, this algebra that all has equations, formulas, context. I also put in system of equations in there. Why? Because I think it's really useful to help your students see things in either graphing, uh, algebraically, or through word problems. So I'm always going to show like multiple ways to do everything, especially since this one's about context. That's how it's gonna go. So I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna share my screen. This is right where we left off. I just changed it from a geometric base to an algebra one, and let's have at it. So for this, we're gonna have the notes page over here. As soon as I gotta move this thing. So we're gonna open the notes page. Here it is, systems from context. It's right here within the algebraic one. Notice that there are gonna be four different sets, and I'll break them into parts of their long. Here we go. So here's your first question that we're gonna be looking at. It should be nice and tough. It's a systems from context. So we got our friend Rajani. Rajani. I think it's pronounced Rahani. Rahani sounds right. She's a salesperson at an electronics store and sells phones and phones accessories. Earns $11 a commission for every phone she sells and three for every accessory. On a given day, Rahani made a total of $104 and sold 60 more accessories than phones. So we got to write this for this. So we'll make X equal accessories. I'm sorry about my spelling, and we're going to do Y equal phones. However you want to set up, doesn't really matter. So X is going to be the number of accessories sold, and Y is going to be the number of phones sold. We have to write the equations. So I think that they just want us to write the equations and not actually solve it, which is totally fine. We could solve it if we want. Maybe I'll graph it. But basically, we're going to have one with the amounts. This is how I was thinking about it. One's the amounts, and one's going to be the prices. So $11 commission for every phone she sells and $3 for every accessory. So for the prices, it's just going to be, uh, oh, and she made a total of $104. So 104 equals, the accessories are $3 of commission on every, so that's 3x. And then $11 for every phone. So that's the first equation. 3x plus 11y equals 104. And then it sold 16 more accessories than phones. So basically, the amounts is we just know that there's 16 more accessories than phones. So the other equation is going to be x plus 16 equals y. And with these two equations, we can get the answer real easy. I'll just put it into Desmos. And you could always have this graphing calculator to help students see it. X plus 16 equals y. And our other equation is 104 equals 3x plus 11y. And I don't know why it's crossing in a negative, but it did cross at a negative. So I probably made a mistake somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but we'll see where the mistake was. 16 more accessories and phones. This is 104 equals 3x plus 11y. So where's the mistakes? X plus 16 equals y. 104 equals 3x plus 11y. That's right. One of my equations was incorrect. It had x plus 16. Oh, I see. I see. So is there a way I can just go back? Nope. Whatever, I'll just do a new one. This one had to be minus because it's more than this. So this one has to be minus 16. I should have known when this was negative. It happens. There it is. So it's 20 because we have to subtract from the other one. So it's she sold 20 accessories and 4 phones. All right. I made one mistake, but let's try another one, right? We all make mistakes. Jacob owns a trucking company. For every truck he goes out, he must pay the driver $28 per hour and also has $3 per mile for gas maintenance. For one day, the driver averaged 45 miles per hour and the total expenses was 1467. Write a system that could be used to determine the number of hours the driver worked and the number of miles the truck drove. So the Jacob must pay the driver $20 per hour and 3 per mile. So we have 28 per hour. So I'll make this per hour. I'll make it each. We'll do $3 per mile. So it's 3M. Made a 3 for instead of a dollar sign. Okay. So on a one particular day, the driver drove an average of 45 miles per hour. The expenses were 1467. Okay, so we'll make X equal the amount of miles, number of miles, and we're gonna make Y be the X I did hours, Y I'll be the number of miles. Oh, so X is the number of miles driven, and this is gonna be the number of hours the driver drove. So the first one, to get the 1467, it's going to be the money. So it's going to be 28x plus $28 per hour and $3 per mile. The maintenance was 14. Drove an average of 45 miles. So 45 times 3, that's 45 times y. 45 times x. So let's look at this one. Let's see the solution. All right, let's do one more. Doesn't matter which one we do. These are nice and tough. Deandra is going to a carnival that has games and rides. Each game costs $2.25. Each ride costs $4.25. Deandra spent $17.50 together on 6 games and rides. Write a system of equations. Okay, so they keep not liking X and Y, but we'll do just G for games. We'll do G as the number of games. So it'll look exactly like theirs. And we're going to do R for the number of rides. So let G equal the number of games. We're going to do R equals the number of rides. All right, so it says all together on 6 games and rides. So basically the first one's just, I would do X plus Y equals 6, right? But we're going to do it just like theirs. So we're going to do G plus R, because just the number of them equals 6. I always do the amounts. Then I do the cost or the other one. And now we have to do the money. So the money one is going to be, it's 225 per game, 225G plus 425R equals how much it cost? Equals 1750. I know that one was easier, but I just had a couple mistakes, so I might as well just show you them. So this one's going to be x plus y equals 6. And I can't mess them up, so 225x plus 425y equals $17.50. And this is it. She did 4 games and 2 rides. Ta-da! So try a couple of these yourself. I always like doing the amounts separate from the cost, but yeah, this could be really tough for students. Don't be afraid to really take your time and show it to them. So let's do a linear one. So here we go. We got our friend Luke. When Luke left this house in the morning, his cell phone battery was partially charged. Let B represent the charge remaining in his battery as a percentage. T hours since he left his house, the table below. Nice. Determine the charge of the battery when he left his house. But basically, this is kind of like an equation. We just need the slope. So we just want to find 0. We have to find the y-intercept. That's all this question is really telling us. We want y equals mx plus b. So we just want to know what happens when x is 0, because that's when our buddy Luke left his house. We wanted to see how charged his phone was. So to get the slope of anything is always rise over run or delta y over delta x. Delta is just a fancy math word for change. So this is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're assuming that it just changes normally. So we're just going to use these two because they have whole numbers. So it's going to be 6.5. Because it's going down, we know the slope has to be negative. 6.5 minus 19.5 over 3 minus 1. Well, 6.5 minus 19.5, that's just a whopping 13 over 2. Well, it's a negative 13 over 2, which is going to be a negative 6.5. So we have the slope. We can check, make sure, all right? 6.5 minus 19.5. Look, it's negative 13. Negative 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. All right, so basically now I have most of it, but I still need the b. So y equals mx plus b. Do I have the slope? Yes, it's negative 6.5 plus, sorry, that just looks too ugly, even for my sloppy standards. So it's negative 6.5 x plus b. But we need the intercept, but we can pick any point we want. Let's use the 3 and the 6.5. So this says my y is 6.5 equals negative 6.5 times 3. So is your input, your output plus b. So 6.5 equals, well, what's negative 6.5 times 3? Should be a negative 18. Oh, it's not. It's negative 19.5. We have to add 19.5 to both sides. And we're going to be left with our final answer. And that's it. We just got to 19.5 plus 6.5, and that's your final answer. He had a 26 charge when he left. You could plot these all on a graph and see it, but either way, it's 26% charged his phone. Oh, they did the slope, and then they found the y-intercept. That's exactly how I did it. And then you can write the equation. This says you lose every hour you're losing 6.5% of your charge, and we started at 26%. This is the answer graphically. right, let's write an equation giving a linear situation. So we got our girl Amelia. She was given a box of assorted chocolates for her birthday. Each night she treated herself. Lucky Amelia. There were originally 18 chocolates in the box, and she ate 3 a night. Okay. And we want to write an equation for chocolate in terms of T, representing the number of chocolates remaining in the box T days after it. So we started with 18, right? And then every night she ate 3. So it's 3 times each day. And that's the answer. I would normally write it this way. Y equals negative 3T plus 18. But based on the situation, I'm pretty sure this is what they want. But when they gave a nice graph, this means after 6 days, no more chocolate left. What a shame. Let's keep on trucking. All right, so now we've got some coefficients. It should be harder. Caroline borrowed some money from her friend in order to help buy a new video game system. Caroline agreed to pay the friend back some amount every week until her loan was paid off. An equation represents this. What is the x-intercept of the equation? Okay, and what is the interpretation in context? This is a lot going on. So we have L equals negative T plus 170. I might as well tell you what everything means. The x-intercept is where it hits the x-axis. That's an x-intercept. The y-intercept is where it hits the y-axis. These are also called roots or solutions, just so you know. So basically, in this case, this means we started with $170, and this means this is how much he owes, and then every week, is it weekly? Every week, and every week she pays back $10. So we're gonna know exactly when it's paid off. So we want to know when our L is 0, when our loan value is 0. So that's negative 10. I forgot my T. Plus 170. The first step is we have to subtract 170 from both sides. So negative 170 equals negative 10T. Divide by negative 10. And this means our y-intercept is going to be 17. So in 17 days, we've paid off our loan. That's what it means. Number of weeks, and is it $10 per week? It is every week. Perfect. The number of weeks. So 17 weeks she paid back her loan. There's our graph. There's it algebraically that I did. There's it graphically, the answer. All right, so here we go. So now we have this as a graphic assignment. So Corey just lit a new candle and then let it burn all the way down to nothing. Okay. Then state the x-intercept of the graph. Okay, so L is what? L, a graph of L is shown below. So that's the length of the candle remaining. So what is L? Write an equation for L. Oh, okay. So to do this, you can think about this as y equals mx plus b. This is going to always be your output or your dependent variable. This is always your independent variable or your input. This means we're starting at 15. So that's our y-intercept. And we want this in terms of L and I guess E. Okay, which is fine for time. And we're going to drop down. We just need a perfect point. So this means we lose 3. 1, 2, 3. Run over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's basically, it's a negative 3/4. I just counted rise over run. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I did it. So it's a negative 3/4 T plus 15. And the x-intercept is 20. This means after 20 hours burning, it's the number of hours until the candle burns. I really like how these are all in context. Ta-da, rise over run. Oh, they actually did the whole thing, but that's okay. They did the slope. We counted the slope, which is fine. They did the decimal. We did the fraction. Let's do some rates. So the table below represents a linear function. Which relationship represents a function with a greater slope? All right, so we would just want a steeper slope. So what is the slope here? Well, to get the slope of our equation, it's just delta y over delta x, which is just going to be 6 minus 0, y2 minus y1, 2 minus a minus 1. Now, two minuses are going to make a plus. So it's going to be 6 over 3. So we have a slope of 3. We just need anything with a bigger slope than 3. What is this slope? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a negative, though. They want a greater one. This would be greater, but it's negative. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. So A is negative 5. 7/4 is not bigger than 3. 6. This one's bigger than 3, so it's C. Ta-da! The slope is, oh, 6 over 3 is only 2. My bad. Had a moment. Good thing we still got the right answer. See, this is a negative 5. This is not bigger than 2. This is bigger than 2. I didn't even look at this one. B is equal to it. This is equal to 2. So it can't be B. All right, let's compare rates in context. Two health clubs both offer different pricing plans, both one-time sign-up fee. The equation represents health club B, and this is A. All right, so we just have to see which is bigger. So we have one equation, y equals 20x plus 15. Then we have this one, right? So A, we need the slope. So change in y. So this one is health club B. And then for health club A, we need the slope, which is change in y over change in x. 255 minus 117 over 5 minus 2. So we know we're looking at 3 on the bottom. Then we have 255 minus 117, 138, and then we're going to divide that by 3. 138 divided by 3. Is it 40 what? 46. So we know this one is y equals 46x plus b. But we don't have it. We need the whole equation. So I'm going to use the first line that's got the smallest numbers. That's usually what I do. So this one's 117 equals 46 times 2 plus b. What's 46 times 2? 92. So 117 minus 92. But we know it's going to be 25. So this is 92 plus b. So we have to subtract this on both sides. We know our final answer is 25. So y equals 46x plus 25. So this is one equation, that's the other. So Health Club A cost $25. Oh, we just want to know in monthly membership. The monthly membership for the first one is $20. The monthly membership for the second one is $46. So A is, all we have to do is do 46 minus 20. That's it. I just want the difference in slopes. So it costs $26. I thought we were going to have to do the equations and figure out when they were equal, but that's fine. It's whatever they want. Ta-da. Now, if they wanted to know that, the equations and when they were equal, all you would have to do is put them in. So y, this is typically the problem the students are going to face for this. And then the other one is 46x plus 20. All right, so when do they match? Oh, that's why. It's always going to cost this one more. Oh, wait, this is 25. It will always cost Health Club B A more. So it will always cost more money. All right, let's keep it going. And I can see the bottom, which is nice. So here we go. Let's compare two linear functions in context. Jack is deciding between two truck rental companies. A charges initial fee of 35 plus 2. So here we go. A is y equals 35 plus 2x. B is y equals, I think this is 100 plus 1x. And write an equation. Write an equation for each situation and determine miles driven. Okay, so we have to figure out how many miles to drive to do it. So A is going to be 35 plus 2x, and B is going to be 100 plus x. Company B is cheaper. Company A is cheaper when we go more than how many miles. So we could do this a bunch of ways, right? Because they're both y equals, we could set them equal to each other. So this is that substitution way. I could minus x to both sides. I could minus 35 to both sides. And 100 minus 35 is 65. So this just means as soon as x is bigger, company A is cheaper than company B when x is less than 65 miles. Because after 65, they're equal, but after 65, B becomes cheaper. That was algebraically. If you want to see it on the chart, you could do it that way. Oh, they did a little graph. I like that. Nice. All right, let's do it graphically. So now we got our girl Layla. She's deciding between two parking garages. A charges $6 plus $4 per hour. So A is 6 plus 4x. B is 12 plus 3x. So put twice the plot each line. All right, so the first one's got to be 6. I'm going to go for every hour. We got to go up to 4. There's the first one. The next one, we're going to start at 12. And for every hour, we're going to go up 1, 2. All right, so sorry, that's 2, 3, halfway. Perfect. So what is the answer? So what is the same? We're talking 6 hours. It would cost them both 30 bucks. So in 6 hours, it would be 30 bucks. There we go. These are the two equations. 6 hours and $30. All right, let's do an elimination of equivalent systems. Which systems of equations have the same solution? Right. We've done enough elimination where I feel like you don't need to do it for this one. It's just a harder way to say problem. I don't think you would need this, so I'm going to cross it out. All right, let's do, we just did it graphically. right? Yeah, we just did this one. Okay, so let's do one step with whole numbers, some basic old algebra. I think we did enough elimination. So here we go. 5 equals x over 5. I'll show you two ways to solve it. The first way is one side's a fraction, make the other side a fraction, you cross multiply. X is 25. The other way, we could do 5 equals x over 5. We can times 5 to both sides. Either way, we're left with 25. All right, let's do this but harder. Ta-da. Okay. Now we've got a decimal. Same idea. 2.6 equals x over 10. I'd make them both fractions and cross multiply. Either way, we're going to get 26 equals x by multiplying both sides by 10. Or cross multiply. All right, let's do this again, but harder. Oh, here's a multiple choice. So which one is equal to x equals 7? This is a good problem. So I think the best way to do a problem like this for your students is just to have them plug them in. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 1 equals positive 36. So this one's out. 5 times 7 is 14. 14 minus 2 is 12. Nope. 6 times 7 is 42 plus 9, not 81. So it's got to be this one. 7 times 4 is 28. 28 plus 9 is 37. Nice. It's a good problem. All right, let's do some more. So now we have u minus 5 equals 9. Let's add the 5 to both sides. U equals 14. All right, let's do this again, but harder. Remember, it's always got to be the inverse or the opposite. Here's one multiplication. Negative 9 equals negative 9b. Divide by negative 9. Any number divided by itself is just going to be. All right, let's do this again, but harder. So we have to simplify it. So negative 19 equals 7n. We divide by 7. Well, that's it. It is simplified. 19 and 7 are both what's called prime numbers, so we're good. 19 over 7. All right, let's do a harder one. Now I have x over 6. So basically for these, you could always cross multiply, or we could just multiply by, if we're the opposite dividing by 6 is multiplying by 6, so this one's 54. You could always make them both fractions across. Let's do one with a fractional coefficient. So every one of these is going to get harder as we go. So the way that I do this, right, there's two ways you can do this. One, you can take the n and drop it on top. This is the first way, and then cross multiply. So 2n equals negative 18. Divide by 2. You get n is minus 9. That's one way to do it. Here's another way to see it, though. So if we have it this way, you could always think about it as negative 6 equals 2/3 n. You can multiply by the reciprocal, so multiply by 3/2 on both sides. Still making this a fraction. These cancel. You're just left with the ends. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. 2 times 1 is 2. Either way, we're left with negative 9. Oh, it froze. So we gotta go back. Okay, I gotta do a different one. That's fine. So 45 divided by 3 is 15. Ta-da. I did 9 times 5 is 45, 3 times 1 is 3, 45 divided by 3. Either way, you could do it. Get the same answer. So now we made it to two-step. So here's our two-step, which isn't too crazy. Notice that none of these have context, right? The first step we're going to do, remember, solving should make us sad map, right? I'm going to add 50 to both sides. That's going to be 50 minus 37, because this one's positive. We're going to get 13 equals a negative a over 6. Opposite of that is we're going to multiply by a negative 6 on both sides. And so what does a equal? Because the negatives cancel, the 6's cancel. 6 times 3 is 18, carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So your answer should be a negative 78. Those are all your steps. Now let's do this even tougher. Here we go. So now we've got some decimals. Negative 7.98 equals negative 1.4a minus 3.5. First step we do, remember, it should make us sad. Let me change the color. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3.5 to both sides. That's going to be 8, 4, carry the 1. Oh, wait, but these are opposites. So I actually have to subtract them. So that's 8. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 7 minus 3, so this is a negative 4.48 equals a negative 1.4a. We divide by negative 1.4. And we know this is just going to get tougher. But two negatives make a positive. And I believe it is 4. 4.48 divided by 1.4, 3.2. That's okay. I was close. These are all the steps. These are all the steps. All right, let's go even harder. So now we're even tougher, right? So now we've got a fractions with more steps. So here we go. 20 equals negative 15 plus 7 over 11y. First step I'm going to do is I'm going to add 15 to both sides. Just going to make this 35 equals 7 over 11y. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. And I'm going to do a trick. I could do 11 times this divided by this, but 7 goes into 35 5 times. So 55 equals y. There we go. You can show your students another way of doing this too, right? So if we have this equation, 20 equals, and you can do this for all of them. So don't be afraid to show them everything graphically, because I think it's going to help them out a ton, okay? There's the line that makes it work. There's only one thing, so it's just going to be this horizontal line, but you could always show them visually that there's an answer to everything. All right, so let's do an even harder one. So now we have 5/11 x minus 1/4 equals 1/2. All right, so the first step I have to do is I got to add 1/4 to both sides. But I can't add these because they don't have the same bottom, the same denominator. The first thing I have to do is multiply top and bottom of this by 2. So this is going to be equal to 2/4. And what is 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. Keep the denominator at the numerator. Then we just multiply by the reciprocal. Now, normally I would cheat here and make it simpler, but I can't. So top times top is 33. Bottom times bottom is 20. I don't know a number that goes into 33 and 20, so I think it's simple. I think it's simplest. So I think this is the simplified answer. 33 over 20. We got it. You can't get simpler than that. So now we get to do some distributions. Now, make your life easier, your students' life easier for distributions. The first thing you can do is tell them not to distribute, because that's going to make them do extra steps that they have to get rid of at the end. We could make this 3z plus 18 equals 33, right? Or we can just divide both sides by 3 before we even start. Boom. Now you've got smaller numbers. Your students are going to be way happier. So z plus 6 is 11. What's the answer? Your answer is 5. Show them the fast way. They will thank you for it. They obviously did the long way. There's way more steps here. Bigger numbers, more chances for students to make a mistake, while you can just divide both sides by 3 first. Now let's go to level 2. Level 2, we do have to work it out because there's more steps here. But I'm going to, so when there's more going on in the problem, you actually have to multiply it out. I need some more space. So here we go. So 5x minus 5 equals negative 6. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this and combine my like terms. Negative 8x plus 2 plus 5x minus 5 equals negative 6. Let me put my like terms together first. So negative 8 and positive 5 is negative 3x. 2 and negative 5 is negative 3 equals negative 6. I'm going to add this to both sides. Negative 6 plus 3 is a negative 3. And a negative 3x divided by negative 3. X is just 1. X is just 1. If you want to show your student to plug in the 1, that'll work. That'd be nice too. All right, so that was kind of tough. These last ones are even more challenging. These are where you're getting more towards algebra, like higher level algebra, but I just wanted to show you them all. So here we go. Let's get into it. So the first one is going to be 13 equals 1/2 x minus 2. Now, I don't want to deal with fractions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to multiply this by 2 and multiply this by 2. Again, make your life easier for your students. These cancel. I'm just left with x minus 2 equals 26. Now, if you were going to distribute first, your life is going to be way tougher, okay? This is just a way to make your students' lives so much easier and teach them in the process about how useful the inverse operations are. See, did I want to deal with a half? Not really. I didn't want to deal with a fraction this way. I didn't have to. I think mine was less steps, but you could do the long way, obviously. So for level 3, I'm assuming, yeah, for this one, I'm assuming we're going to have a tougher job. It's just another distribution problem. We just did one. Actually, let's do this one. Negative 8 plus 7, 2x minus 4 plus 3x equals negative 1 minus 8x. All right, so here's our problem, right? It's nothing too crazy. So I have a negative 8. I've got a positive 14x and a negative 28. I distributed. And I have a plus 3x. I don't know why I got so far away. Equals negative 1 minus 8x. So to do this, I got to put my terms together. 14 and 3 is 17. -8 and -28 is a -36 equals -1 minus 8x. I always leave my x's on this side. So we've got 25x. We're going to add the 36 equals 35. And when we divide by 25 on both sides, we will have to simplify this. We can divide it by 5, and we're going to be left with 7/5. That's if you divided top and bottom by 5. Your answer is 7/5. Wild. Lots of steps here, lots of steps. Oh, they wanted the decimal. That's okay. It's the same answer. Okay, so a linear equation with decimals. Did we do that? Oh, we did it, but that's okay. Okay, so here we go. Don't be afraid of the decimals. Don't let it scare you. A minus 7.4x minus 8.3 minus 7. My first step is I'm going to distribute this negative sign. Since it's not a number, I'm going to just make my life a little easier. So it's going to be 7.4x plus 8.3 minus 7. So 8.3 and -7 is going to be a 1.3. I'm going to minus 7.4x to both sides. So I'm going to be left with 2.6x equals 1.3. Divide both sides by 2.6. Now, if you do it on the top, you could do it on the bottom, as long as you stay consistent. What is 13 divided by 26? Your answer is 1/2, or 0.5, whatever you prefer. Those were all the steps, nothing too crazy, but that's the answer. Okay, so let's do a 3-step before we get into these crazy ones. So here's just a basic 3-step equation. 5x minus 10 equals -9x minus 6. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 9x to both sides. That's my first step. That's going to give me 4x minus 10 equals -6. Now I'm going to add 10 to both sides. I'm going to be left with 4x equals 4. So what does x have to be? We divide both sides by 4. We're just going to get a 1. Here's all your steps. So finally, we are in absolute value. So this is what absolute value looks like. And we'll do more of this as we go. This is the absolute value. It's a V. This means no matter if I put in a positive 20, I get 20. I put in a negative 20, I get 20. So no matter what goes in here, it's going to come out positive. So the best way to do these problems is you isolate. So to do an absolute value problem, you have to isolate, then you split it. Now, if you have an absolute value problems with inequalities, you do the KISS method, where you keep the first, then you switch. This is it. I'll show you how this would be if it was an absolute value as well. So keep it switch. So let's just do the first one. It's already isolated because the bars are by themselves, which basically means we have 2c equals 8 and 2c equals -8. It could be both. We divide both sides by 2. C equals 4. C equals -4. Now, let's say it was absolute value of 2c minus 2 equals 8. The first thing I would do here is isolated by adding 2 to both sides. Now the bars are alone. You think 2 bars, 2 equations. So 2c equals 10, 2c equals negative 10. Your answers are 5 and minus 5. One more. So now if we have 2c is less than 8. So the first one we keep it. Now the second one, we're going to switch the sign. It's switch, switch. This is the keep it. This is your switch, switch. So it's not just as greater than 8, it's greater than negative 8. And so this is going to be C is greater than 4, and C is going to be less than negative 4. So if we were to draw this thing, this means it's going to be everything to the right of negative 4. Open circle, because there's no equal sign. Open circle, and any answer here is going to make this true. But ours is 4 comma negative 4. That's it. I showed you everything. I basically did all of absolute value in a second. Let's look at a level 2. So the level 2 is nothing too crazy. The level 2, we basically just see, are the bars alone? Yes, the bars are alone, which basically means 1 is going to be equal to 54, and 1 is going to be equal to negative 54. All right, my phone is buzzing. Good thing I only have 3 left, so I'm just about done with this video. Negative 9. Oh, I even wrote it wrong. I'll do, so the other equation is negative 9 plus 5a equals negative 54. So we're going to add 9, add 9. So 5a is going to be, what's that, 63? Divide by 5, divide by 5. So that's your first answer, 63/5. Then we're going to, same thing. We still do the same thing every time. Add 9, add 9. But because this is negative, now this is going to be a negative 54 plus 9. Oh, it's plus 9. All right, so 54 plus 9 is going to be a negative 45. So one's going to be 63/5, and the other one's going to be negative 9. I usually do the negative one first. So negative 9, comma, 63 divided by 5. These are your 2 answers. Sorry, mine got messy. Those are both answers. Beautiful. So solve for the following in X, express your equations in symbols. Okay. Not worried about this. So this we're either going to have right away, this is going to have one answer. I can tell immediately. But I'll solve it. So negative 8, 5x minus 3 equals negative 5x plus 5. This is negative 40x plus 24 equals negative 5x plus 5. I could just see it. So we're going to add 5x, which is going to be negative 35x. I'm going to subtract 24. 5 minus 24 is going to be negative 19. Divide by negative 35. And 2 minuses make a plus. Our final answer is going to be 19 over 35. It just looked like it was going to be one. You can try more of these if you like. Look at more of them to see it. Let's find a harder one. Level 2. So again, if there wasn't one answer here, like let's go back. Let's say if there wasn't one answer here, right? 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 5 is 20. 28 minus 20, 0 does not equal 1. So this is going to be no solution. Because we were left with 20 equals 21, and that doesn't happen. If we were left with 21 equals 21, what would we have? Infinite solutions. That's positive 3x, positive 3x. Those cancel. And we have a positive 3 and a positive 2, no solution. Because 3 can't equal 2. All right, let's do this one. This one is kind of scary, right? Don't be afraid. 4 plus 3, negative 6x plus 6 equals 9 plus 4, 8x minus 6. So here we go. 4 minus 18x plus 18 equals 9 plus 32x minus 24. Because you just have to make sure you distribute to both of them. 4 and 18 is 22 minus 18x. 9 and 24, 9 minus 24 is a negative 15, and this is 32x. I'm going to just add the x, even though I don't like doing that, just to keep things positive. So that's 50x. And we're going to add 15 to both sides. That's 37 equals 50x. And that's your final answer, 37 over 50. So it has one solution. And the solution is 37 divided by 50. This is a hard one. If you struggle with this one, that's okay. Just skip it. Here's the last few. You have to use structure for these. This equation will have infinitely many solutions when x is negative 3 because they're equal to each other. Because when you have the same number of x's on each side, when you have the same number of x's on either side of the equation and the same constant, it's the same equation. So when it's zero solutions, the same x's, different constants, infinitely many, same number, same constants, one solution, different x's, and the constants are different. All right, let's do this, but one step harder. This equation will have infinitely many solutions when h equals, well, this is 6, right? So x and minus 1, 6 and minus 6. So this is going to be 6 more. So this has to be 2. And this is going to be a negative, yeah, just 2. When you have the same x's and the same constants. So you can definitely try this. It's the same question, but if definitely means it has the same thing. Right. This is probably the most common one your students will see. That's why I finished it with this. All right, here we go. The lengths of 4 sides. Ooh, that's an ugly quadrilateral. There's a quadrilateral. The lengths of 4 sides of quadrilateral are consecutive integers. So this is x. This is x plus 1. This is x plus 2. And this is x plus 3. I try to make them all different sizes. If the perimeter is 46, find the longest of the 4 sides. So the perimeter means you got to count all the way around. So it's x plus 1 plus x plus 2 plus x plus 3 equals 46. What we got to do is add. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. I have 1, 2, 3, so that's 6 equals 46. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. which is going to make it 4x equals 40. Which is x is 10. A lot of students are going to mess this up and just stay with 10. But the question says the longest side. Our longest side is x plus what? Not 4, x plus 3. So our biggest answer is going to be 13. We have 10, 11, 12, and 13. Add them all up, you get 46. Ta-da. They didn't even draw a picture. I don't like it. Method 2, picture. Picture. What a shame. All right, let's do this one step harder. The sum of an integer, so the sum of an integer and 8 times the next consecutive integer, so 8 times x plus 1 is 71, and we want the bigger one. So there it is. The sum of an integer and 8 times the next consecutive integer, so this is x plus 8x plus 8 equals 71. So this is 9x plus 8 equals 71. A minus 8 to both sides. 9x equals 63. We divide both sides by 9. And we're left with x equals 7. Now, sorry, divide both sides by 9. You're left with x equals 7. But that's not the answer. We want the bigger one. We have x equals 7, but we need the greater integer. So the sum of an integer and 8 times the next consecutive integer. The next consecutive integer is not 7, it's 8. I know that seems crazy. We did all this work to get 7, but the next consecutive, the next one on the line is 8. And that's why these questions are so hard for students. Sometimes they'll pick 7. Sometimes they'll actually plug in the 7 and do 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 times 8 is 64, right? They might pick 64. That's what makes these problems so tough for kids. Let's look at method 2. Ugh, don't show them method 2. All right, so this is another direct variation. We did this before. Just a little review to finish. X. So this is y equals k times x. X and y vary directly when y is 4 and x is 12. So when y is 4, k 12. So we divide by 12. So this makes k equal to what? 1/3. So if I have k as 1/3, we have to find y when x is 15. So we just have to find y when it's 1/3, it's 15. Well, what's 1/3 times 15? Your y is just going to be 5. That's one ugly 5. There we go. Just a reminder in case you forgot how to do your proportions. And here we go. Here's a word problem. The number of miles driven by Hannah is directly proportional to the number of gallons used, 9, 11, 15, blah, blah, blah. How many would she drive in 12 gallons? So to do this one, we just need kind of the slope, right? Change in y over change in x. You can just do one of them, but I like finding the slope. But we'll do a proportion. We did enough slope. So y equals k times x. Well, let's just do the first one. So ready? 436.5 equals k times 9. What x before y, like in the alphabet. There's your input gallons, that's your miles used. So the first thing we just do is divide by 9. 436.5 divided by 9 is 48.5. So that's our k. K is 48.5. So all we need is y equals 12. And the k is over here. 48.5 times 12. And that's it. 48.5 times 12. And we know we've gone 582 miles. How can we check? Well, 582 is between these two, right? 11's between these two. 582 is, and if you look it up, since it's exactly halfway, we can take the average of these two and get the same answer. Watch 533.5 plus 727.5. If we divide this by 2, guess what we get? Oh, I guess it's not. Oh yeah, because it's 12. This would be the answer for 13. So if I divide this by 13, I should get our constant. Yeah, nice. And we got it. Oh, I gotta reload the page. That's fine. So our answer was 48.5 times 12, 582 miles. And we're good to go. Good luck with the rest of these. These are tough. Just reach out if you need any help, and I'm here. Take care.